Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be taking a look at solving and graphing the solution set for an inequality. So for number 1, we're going to solve and graph. Important to keep in mind that we apply the same principles with equations, performing inverse operations and keeping things balanced. So number 1, if I want to isolate x, I'm simply going to divide by 2 to undo that multiplication. Okay, 4 1/4 divided by 2 is the same as saying multiplied by 1/2, and I'm going to rewrite 4 1/4 to be 17/4. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Now multiplying straight across, I'd get 17 over 8, or we can write that as 2. 8 goes into 17 2 times, leaving 1/8 left over. So 2 1/8, or 2.125. We keep the symbol the same. We've done extension lessons on what happens when you're dividing and multiplying by a negative, but we're not going to see that in this case. So x is less than 2 1/8. Representing that on a number line. Fraction-wise here, what do we want to do? So we'll call this maybe like by fourths or something. So this would be 2 1/2. This would be 1 3/4, 1 1/2. So 2 1/8 would be right here, halfway between 2 and 2 1/4. I'm going to use a open circle. It's not including. It says less than. It's not equal to 2 1/8. So it's right there. It's not touching the point. So we use an open circle to represent that. And now we're going to shade to the left to represent the fact that it is less than. These are numbers that are smaller than 2 1/8. So for number 2, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to subtract 0.9 to get started. Okay, 3.72 minus 0.9. That's going to be 2.82. Okay, and we're all solved for it. X is greater than or equal to 2.82. You would be given a number line, so me setting this up, don't stress about that. If it were a day 3 question, you'd be given a number line, or for multiple choice, you'd be asked to pick out the correct number line for a given inequality. So x is greater than or equal to 2.82. At 2.82 itself, I'm going to put a filled in circle now. This little component right here, the or equal to part, is what leads to the filled in versus the open circle. And now this is greater than, so we can shade to the right. These are numbers that are greater than. A quick little trick, if your variable is written on the left, you can simply think of it as like an arrow pointing. So for number 2, it's an arrow pointing to the right. If you look back at number 1, we could think of it as like an arrow pointing to the left. And if you look at our answer, that little trick works only when the variable is on the left, which is how we traditionally write things in a standard notation. Okay, thank you for watching. This was solving and graphing the solution set for inequalities.